What'd you say?
Cutting them eyes over here.
Because I'm on the live. Just in case you didn't know. So, you know, it's just how it goes. You go live, and then, people hear you speak. Yeah, you hear everything. You want to talk to the audience? Yeah, coming from this side. Because, baby, ain't nobody got time for that. All right, we're going to get started in a moment. Just giving everyone time. It's Labor Day something. We do no Labor Day over here. I guess this is why we are chilling. And for everyone who is tuning in for a Mindset Monday shift, go ahead and join me. Join the live. Get your heart me's and make sure that you get gifted. All those great things that TikTok loves to encourage us to do. And I'm also thinking about going live again tonight at 8 p.m., which means that I'll be able to give you guys a little bit more guidance and tips around, your mindset shift in the beginning of the week. This is really something I wanted to bring to the table today because this weekend I went to a event, which was powerful. Had beautiful women and men who support, right? But it's not when, it was Pop-Up and Creates event, one of our corporate sponsors, and she basically had her 3rd year anniversary. And, when you celebrate your milestones in business, guys, right? You celebrate 3 years and now you're at this pivotal place of, celebration. You need to just kind of go all in. And I want to emphasize that because sometimes, right, we are like the go-to person. And that means that we're the person always being relied on and depended on. And so we don't always celebrate our wins like we need to, right? I work with a lot of high achieving women entrepreneurs who, are really in this space of wanting to understand more about how to transition from a 9-to-5 space into their business world. And some of the things that come up in this concept of business, right, when women entrepreneurs are transitioning is really understanding how to not be busy all the time, right? Because your business can't grow if you're just busy. And so it doesn't lead to fulfillment. And I work with a lot of women that are like, I want to be fulfilled. I don't want to keep climbing the corporate ladder. I don't want to keep going through this, this experience. And when I was at the event this weekend, I talked to so many women who, and I was on the panel. So that's why I was able to talk to women. So if you guys want to get more exposure to the world, go out and start speaking more. Like start speaking on panels and stages and, start putting yourself out there, because I'm realizing that even though my mindset has shifted years ago, I was still sitting behind a camera and it didn't make any sense anymore. It was like, wait, behind the camera, like, baby, I'm supposed to be in the world, but I am in the world, just not on the stages, right? And so sometimes you have to get on stages. Hey, Emma, what's up, sis? Feel free to join me this Mindset Monday. And I really love this, this concept today we're going to talk about because I want to paint a picture for you guys, right? So let me paint this picture. So you walk into the office, right? Or maybe it's like a Zoom call, okay? So let's just paint this picture. You walk into the office, maybe it's a Zoom call, and before you can even put your bag down or sip your coffee, right? Someone is already calling your name. It could be on a cell phone. It could be on the messenger, right? On your computer. But as soon as you open up your door to go to work, like somebody is needing you. And, I think it's so funny because some of the things that I hear from high achieving women who experience this, right, before they can even breathe coming into the office, someone is calling their name. Things like, hey, can you help me with this? We knew you could get it done. You always save the day, right? These are some of the things that I've kind of like pulled from women that I work with, because I'm like, we are high achievers. So we're going to get it done, right? you're going to get the work done. So if you're like that, I want you to drop a heart or raise your hand or whatever, because I'm like that. I was the person that was like, and still am, the go-to when things need to get done. And that can feel like that can be a lot of pressure, because you can work in a job where, I was just talking to someone who said that they just celebrated their 10 years at work, and they always were the person, everybody's like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And then at the end of the day, they're not even done their own work. Like they're still working overtime over the hours to try to get their own work done. So I thought about that, because I asked her, I said, why do you feel like that is more fulfilling? Okay. Why do you feel like that is more fulfilling, to complete someone else's work rather than get your own work done? Because it starts in a 9-to-5 space, y'all. So when we talk about a mindset shift from being a high achieving woman in a 9-to-5 corporate job, whatever that looks like, to now owning a business, we have to actually start delegating more and not being the go-to person. So this is why this shift is so necessary, right? Because if you're always the go-to person, there's no way for people to be able to be responsible for their own jobs. They're not going to be responsible for their own jobs. So starting with that and looking at the fact that everyone's fire becomes your fire, baby, it's not going to work. Because everybody has a fire to put out, right? I was just putting out fires last week. Everybody has a fire to put out, but let that be your fire in your business, where you created it and you already know, like, you can replace those measures. But when it comes to someone else's job and you're building someone else's wealth and their future, their generational wealth, then you have to kind of limit yourself on that, right? Because you're high achieving. And this conversation is for women who are more high achieving, because the truth is that high achievers tend to not really celebrate their wins, right? We tend to just kind of keep going through all the things that we're doing without stopping and actually celebrating the fact that, hey, I started a business, or hey, I thought about starting a business. This is my vision. Or, I started the business and I finally got my first sale. Oh my God, let me celebrate, right? I've noticed that we don't actually reward ourselves well, right? So when it comes down to the business, it doesn't seem as great, because it's like, okay, we're just floating through. But I encourage my clients to celebrate everything, because being the go-to person means that you are the most reliable, you are the most dependable, you are the most efficient person, which makes you the best entrepreneur. It makes you the best business owner, right? But CEOs can't operate from a space of lack. CEOs cannot operate where you're not pouring from a full cup. So we're shifting this mindset, right? So what we're doing is we're taking this go-to person energy, which stays busy all the time. That's not fulfillment. Working hard. I tell my clients, they come into my sessions, and this is one of the main things that I say all the time. Are we working smart, or are we working hard? And we laugh about it every time, because majority of the time we're working hard, right? And so clarity comes when you're working smarter. Doesn't come when you're working hard. Sometimes we can work really, really hard on something and still, do it wrong, or consistently do it and not get any result at all. So working hard is not really that great just because you're working hard. Clarity comes when you start to realize that you have to be intentional about your work, right? So it's not about, okay, let me just do it because somebody said do it. Well, why am I doing this? Why am I actually starting the business? Is it because it's going to actually fulfill me and create the revenue? That comes from, really being informed. And sometimes we're a little impatient. We don't want to, wait to get the information. We want to just jump out there and do it, which is fine, right? Try it out, test yourself, but also pull back and say, maybe I should tweak this, and don't put a period where there should be a pause, is what we say. So don't work hard, okay? Because clarity will come when you start working smarter. And also, this is another reality check, guys. Making more money does not make you financially free. Well, I guess it does financially, but making more money does not give you freedom. How about that? Okay, let's put it that way. Making more money does not give you freedom. I have been in so many different experiences with business owners who are making multi-millions. They are, thriving, right? And it's not because they're making money, that they're not free. Like, they're, if you really have conversations with them, they're stressed, they're struggling, they're trying to keep their business afloat. Their family, they're having family issues. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So it really should be, business should be something that fuels, right, your freedom. It should not hold you back and make you feel stuck. So that's something to be careful about, because checking your beliefs in business is so important before you just start it. So if you're transitioning and you're in a space where you're like, I need to change my mindset because I've been working a job all my life and I don't know anything about business, right? I instruct my clients very heavily on how to transition through market research, through building a business, for whether it is actually writing the business plan, which most people don't, but we still work through that process. And also making sure that you have like the tools and the resources in place, right? Business is a whole scope of things. It's not just social media, and it's not just marketing, and it's not just a business model. It's all of it. And so we work through that through coaching and making sure you have all those resources and tools, even with my partners, right? Because even mindset, I'm not a mental health therapist, guys. Like, sometimes my coaching doesn't cover some of the things that, my clients may go through in their childhood. So I have partners for that, right? Because through your business growth, you still take care of yourself. So I wanted to check those myths for, being busy doesn't equal fulfillment. Working hard doesn't equal clarity, and having money does not equal freedom. I just wanted to make sure that y'all know that, because sometimes, being the go-to person, you have to kind of sit back, right? Because it keeps you busy, right? Everybody needs something all the time, whether it's your boss, whether it's your coworkers, whether it's your friends, your family, your children, whether it's some stranger, right? If you're the go-to person, you're the go-to person. And here's another thing I want to emphasize too, because that's honey. Okay. Because at the end of the day, when you are looked at and used to being the go-to person, what happens is everyone else gets used to that too. So that literally becomes your identity, right? And when you start a business, you can be the go-to person to make the final decision, but you can't be the go-to person for everything. And so being able to kind of, get that out your system early on and say things like, even to your coworkers, your boss, and, friends and family, and start saying the word no, like practicing that. And it doesn't even have to mean that you're, being selfish. People don't like the word selfish. It's not to mean you're selfish. It just means that you're practicing your boundaries. You're practicing where you can serve people, where you're putting your limits on. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I've actually had conversations. Let me give you guys an example, because staying busy, that's one of the main things that my mompreneurs, that's a big thing, right? Staying busy. And it's because it's in the nervous system. Okay, it's in the nervous system. Thank you, Emma. I appreciate you, sis. Aw. Yeah, I forgot to invite you up. I'm sorry. It's in the nervous system. So a lot of my mompreneurs, what happens with them is they don't even realize, and Emma might be able to speak very heavily to this, y'all. A lot of women who are moms who start working, especially when they're building a business while they're working a 9 to 5, it's like they go into overwhelm and increased overwhelm because they're adding more to their plate, and they don't know how to take things off of their plate, right? I've noticed that with a lot of mompreneurs I've worked with. And it's really interesting because for some reason, as women, how they say, oh, we're this and we're that. I believe that we're the best at owning businesses because of the capacity that we have. Like, we can hold so much. We can hold so many things in us, like people's emotions and people's energy, and we could just hold so much. So I believe we're the best at being entrepreneurs, but when we're doing stuff in real life, like picking up the kids and doing things for the family and going to work every day and building a business, when you're doing all these things, I believe it's building up a pattern, right, in our bodies that is saying, hey, you're supposed to always be doing something. Like, and it becomes subconscious, right? Because even when I'm talking to my mompreneurs, like I was talking to, and Emma, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then chime in on this part, because I remember a client I had 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I remember my client. She was 4 kids, y'all. Okay. And she was very like good at what she did. Like there was nothing wrong with how she was and what she was offering or anything. But when she showed up in business, you could see the overwhelm from her personal life every time, if whether it was a live, a social media post, going to a networking event or anything, the buildup of all the busyness that was happening in her life was happening when she would show up for her business. So it was just a natural occurrence. And when she would talk about it, I would say, are you aware of that? She said, yeah, I'm aware, right? But there was nothing she felt she could do about that, because that's a reprogramming. And that's when I sang you to Emma. Because I'm like, you might want to talk to someone about how to get rid of all the stuff. Emma, hey, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey Allegra, I've just been listening to you. It's always great to be in your room, even without we don't have Miracle today, but we got you, so that's cool. Yeah, my name is Emma Lyons, and what I do is I work with female entrepreneurs primarily, and I help them unhook from the trauma that's causing them to feel overwhelmed, burnout, get imposter syndrome, all this struggle and striving and not get to where they want, or get what they want, or reach the goal, but feel totally empty inside. So, and I do that by helping them clear the root causes. And these are usually, believe it or not, these are things that we take on from childhood. So beliefs and fears and kind of habits, trauma responses that we keep playing out. So that means that you in your mind, you're like, yes, I want to be successful, I want to be free. But you might have this trauma thing you learned when you were a child, that you've got to constantly be scrambling in order to feel okay. So you're constantly living in survival mode. And I help people disconnect those cords and really reclaim their power. So, and that is so important because, like Allegra said, there are so many people out there, men and women, but a lot of women as well, particularly, who maybe they're overachievers, like Allegra has been talking about, and they're ticking all their money goals, but they're just feeling burnt out, wiped out. They can't handle, and when they show up with that overwhelmed energy. And you want your business to be, believe it or not, it can have that energy of ease in your business. And you can actually get more done, believe it or not. I know this might sound crazy to some of you guys, but you can actually get more done when you approach things from that calm place rather than scrambling and pushing to try to get everything done and put everything in place. That's like lastminute.com way of living. If sometimes you can get what you want, but there's a heavy price on your health, on your mental health, on every area of your life. But believe it or not, you can systematize things with things. And if you have a great business coach like Allegra and people helping you with your systems, even if you have a very large business, you can systemize it, you can delegate, and that put yourself back in kind of that ease mode so that you can start actually enjoying your business again, because that's why we got in business. We got in business because there was a calling to do this. And a lot of us weren't made. We didn't feel like we fit in a regular job, so we had to create our own. But it doesn't have to be constant struggle or striving. It can actually be ease and flow. But you've got to clear out those trauma responses and get out of survival mode in order to make that happen. So really excited about this conversation. And I'll pass the mic back to Allegra. Thanks so much for letting me share.
Yes, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Hey, Marge. I see the Mama Karen is in the building. Listen, I saw y'all pop in. Sorry, I didn't say hi to you guys. Regina T. Oliver, Dave, welcome. Gracious AF, welcome. Built Different, welcome. Kiki, welcome. All right, so Linus, welcome. So I'm really excited about, just this concept about reducing overwhelm. Because the truth is, like you said, Emma, we do have to check ourselves and see exactly where we're at. A lot of the things, like, think about this. How many times have you been busy all week? All week, guys. How many times have you been busy all week and didn't move 1 inch closer to your actual goal? I've done that. I've done that so many times. And usually it's something that I have to stop in that moment and check, like, whoa, what was going on? Because if you're staying busy because it's a trauma response, because it's something that you're just accustomed to, you're used to, or there's a block somewhere, you can check that at any time. And I think it's really important because, just like Emma was saying, there are resources. That's why I'll tell my clients all the time, or anyone who comes into my spaces, I'm like, listen, when you get serious or when you get uncomfortable, you'll get in the DMs, right? When you get uncomfortable, you'll get in the DMs, because that's usually when people are like, okay, I've tried it all. I'm done trying to be this way, that way. And getting the right support, guys, is really essential, because I don't know anything that I've done in business alone. Not one thing. I know, like, it's funny because I hear people all the time, like even the Snoop Dogg video where he goes, do, I want to thank me. I want to thank me for everything that I got, everything that I've done. And listen, it's funny, it's cute, but the truth is that every step along the way, somebody helped that man, okay? Nobody does anything alone. So when we do this whole thing called business, guys, and we're not understanding where our capacity lies from transitioning from a 9-to-5 space into full-time, like, hey, I'm going to produce my own time, money, like I'm managing all of it myself, that's a whole different level of a mindset. It's a whole shift in your identity, right? I wasn't this person 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. I wasn't this person. Business built me. It built me over time, right? And it will build you too. It'll take you to places you never thought you would go. It'll make you do things you never thought you would do, right? I remember hiring my first team, guys, and saying to myself, oh my God, I'm a real boss in my business. Like, I have 7 employees. I remember feeling that and feeling like, what do you do now? Like, that came with a whole new level of challenges, because what I was used to doing in business all by myself, now I had to fully delegate, right? I had to challenge myself to see how responsible I was with managing time, meaning that I'm not doing everything myself, that I'm managing my time better by using my team, their resources, them as a resource. So that's really important, because that's something I just had a workshop about just this past weekend, about how to even build a team with $0. There's people out there that want to help you build your business, right? And I've done it. So I want you guys to shift your mindset in this place. Don't think about, did I just do a lot today? Think about what you actually got done, And then another question that I want us to think about today is, how many of us are working harder than ever, but still feel confused about our next step? Are you working harder than ever, but still confused about your next step? And I think that that's an important question to ask, because if you know what that next step is going to be, then you're confident, right? You don't go into overwhelm, because you start actually planning it out and saying, okay, well, how do I get there? And who and what is going to help me get there? Okay. And the last question I want you guys to think about is, how many of us make good money, but still don't feel free to live life on our terms? How many people, right, do you know make good money, but still don't feel free to live life on their terms? I can name, I'm thinking of 3 right now. Like, I'm trying to think of more as we're speaking, because the truth is that there's so many of us, because money doesn't create happiness, right? And this is why we don't start the business just to make money. We do it to create the fulfillment in our lives, because we get to do things that we have in our minds. We take an idea, we create the vision, and we put it out there in the world tangibly. So now people get to pay you for it, right? That's a dream come true. And there's so many of us that are high visionaries that our dreams are so big. We're like, how do I get there? Right? With a team, with people who believe in your vision. And so you have to know where to start. And so if you're stuck in any of these areas or you're confused, right? One of the things I always tell you to do is go get support, reach out for help. And I have support systems that are absolutely no cost to people. So as long as you reach out in the DM, you get the support, but you have to take action. Emma, I want you to talk about one of these questions that I just, because I want to talk about the trap of an overachiever next. But this question came up for me and I was like, this is so true, because I hear so many people say they started their business to make a lot of money. And I think that's very attainable, right? Because that's what it does. It makes money. But if you get caught in that mindset that because you have the business that you're just going to automatically make the money, become rich, it's going to fulfill your lifestyle, I think that's a trap. And especially for the go-to person, the overachiever, the woman who is, always getting things done, right? That can be a trap. That you're going to make this money and have this lifestyle, because the challenges that come in business, guys, is going to test your character. What do you say about that, Emma?
Sorry, I've got a bit of background noise going on here. But yeah. I mean, I'm all about women doing things, because they want to as well. So if you're just doing something just to make the money, it can be a little bit more tricky, because, then we'd all be in finance or something. So I'm all about people doing something that you enjoy. Like if you're great at coaching people in business, well, that's your thing. Do the thing that really turns you on. That's the first thing. Because yes, it is a trap. If you're just going after money and that's all you're thinking of, you're not gonna have the passion. Or even if you have the passion at the start, running a business is hard. You could easily run out of steam, and there will likely be times where the money isn't flowing. So you've got to keep yourself motivated some other way. And it is, we talk about this a lot here. Running your own business is not easy. It requires a whole different level of consciousness than working for someone else. So if you're an overachiever and you're constantly pushing yourself and burning yourself out, you can, and if you are the business, that can actually crash and burn your business, because the overachievers, they often struggle to delegate, for example. So they have to do everything themselves, and there are a million things to do and nobody can do it right. So I have to do everything. And that is a recipe for disaster, because you're going to be exhausted all the time. You're going to be exhausted, burnt out, struggling, and that energy is going to affect your business, because that's how it works, guys. The way you do anything, your energy affects every single area of your life. Excuse me, including your family, your friends, your business. It affects everything. So it's so important that you focus on your energy, and also delegating to other people, which is something that those type A personalities struggle with. They can't delegate to other people because nobody else can do it the way I do. But this is something that we've got to learn. We've got to learn to let go of control, because that control thing, it's rigid, it's holding on. You're trying to force it the way you want. And this can stop, because sometimes surprises happen. Things can come in different ways. And if you're constantly trying to force it to happen this way, and only this way I can make the money through this particular sale or this particular angle, you could be missing out in a bunch of other possibilities that are open there. So you've got to remain open to possibilities and not fixate on, this is the only answer. And it's so important to have the guidance, to have a coach, because we all have blind spots. I get coaching, I get help, because there's some things I can't see. I can see things very easily in other people when it comes to these emotional blocks and fears. But for other areas of my life, and also sometimes an emotional block will affect me, and I can't see the wood for the trees, so I need someone to help me. So it's so important. It is a trap to try to do everything on your own. It doesn't work. It's not very effective, and you're going to burn yourself out. And that means that the money is going to dry up, because if you're the business and you run out of steam, that's gonna mean the money runs out of steam too. So
Yep.
so important that you look after yourself, because especially when you're selling your product or service, you are the business. You are the business. So how much energy you have going on, how much energy you're projecting out there in the world, that affects what comes back to you, how people resonate with you, how many clients you have at a time, how much money you're making, and how much you're kind of enjoying. It's important to enjoy the process as well. It's hard, but it is enjoyable, because you build yourself up so much. Allegra was just talking about that. You become the next level of you. You can, through business, because it's like a personal development boot camp. You have to grow if you want your business to grow too. You have to grow your money mindset, your capacity to receive, your capacity to delegate, your capacity to ask for help, your ability to not be people pleasing and not need validation and approval for others. You've got to show up unapologetically to really fully shine, and not care that some people aren't going to get it, some people aren't going to like you. That's just part of life. And that happens when you're fully aligned, when you fully love yourself, when that validation comes from you. You don't need it from people out there, and those haters just goes right through you. It doesn't affect you at all, right over your head. And this is real freedom. And this comes from having the strategy, having the guidance, having the right coaching, and also working on the inner side of things, working on your mindset, working on your nervous system, working through traumas and releasing them, so that you can actually open yourself up enough to really receive that as a possibility, the ease that can happen, that you can experience through business that's aligned for you and that's built around you and your lifestyle. And just remember, what you're offering, it's the answer to someone's prayers. Someone is praying for the exact thing that you offer, and only the thing that you offer is going to do. Nothing else is going to work. And I believe it's our duty to get your gift out there, because this is how we change the world, by sharing our gifts and receiving appreciation for that. Appreciation is another word for money. This is how people give and receive appreciation in our world. So I covered so much, but it's just such a big topic. I'm going to pass it back to you, Allegra.
No, it's really good. Hey y'all, I saw y'all pop in. Oh, look, Miracle is popping in. So Emma was looking for Miracle earlier. We know that when Miracle walks in, there are blessings in store. But thank you guys for joining us. I didn't get to call all of your names as you were coming in. I want to give respect for Emma talking. Corella, thank you for being here. Rayleigh, hi, how are you? Nisa, A, thank you for being here. Feel free to jump on stage. I'll invite you in a moment. We're talking about being the go-to person, the overachiever, the high energy, the person that everyone gets the resolution from, right? They get the resolve. And I want to talk about this too, because you said something about asking for help. And that's another major area that I work with my clients in, guys. Like, it's not just about building the business. It's about doing it with the right support, because your business is going to be only as good as the people working in it. That's the truth. And so I pride myself in finding people that can work my business that are smarter than me, that can do better than me. Now, I don't always get it right, but you work on it, you improve it, right? And I've had the best teams. I've had people come to me and go, where do you find your employees? Where do you find your support staff? I'm like, I just do my research, right? There's a vetting process and everything. So asking for help is really important, because asking for help comes from a lot of different areas. This comes from, like, when you start the business, the first thing you're doing is asking for help. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but when you start the business, you should have a business plan, right? Thank you, Nisa. Nisa's welcoming everyone into the room. Appreciate that. Yeah. Have you ever thought about that? Like, when you start the business, like, a lot of times people get stuck here because especially as overachievers, because we are so used to getting things done and so used to knowing how to do things. So when it comes to something brand new, right, and you don't have a support system or someone that's already there that you know, because most of us don't even know anyone who has a business when we start off. Most of us are like, wait, I'm the first business owner in my family. Some of us are just like having that light switch come on. So finding the right support system is really important, and asking for help from those people is really important. And asking for help comes in a lot of different ways. Like I remember when we first started my bartending company, I had to ask for help from my mentors, from my clients, right? That's when you start, like, that's why we say poll, survey, right? Ask them to tell you what it is that they are looking for from you as a brand, as a business, right? It helps you understand the market better. But I don't want to dive too much into that. But I think asking, period, and Emma, maybe you can comment on this. Let me invite Nisa up. I think asking, period, is like being open to receiving. The same way that we used to talk about the joy of receiving back in the day. Being open to receiving means that you're always looking for your next opportunity. So that next opportunity could mean who's going to help me start the business, who's going to give me funding for my business, who's going to purchase my first item, who's going to make my first sale. Like it's being able to know that asking means, you're not helpless.
Yeah.
Asking means that you're giving people access. Go ahead,
That's
Emma.
true. So putting an offer out there, that's important, and I'm sure lots of people miss that step, It's crazy as it seems. So, but you've got to put yourself out there, and like you were alluding to, Allegra, you also got to be open to the possibilities. That's the other thing. Like I was kind of talking about that. If you're totally fixated that it needs to come in that particular way, that it needs to come in the form of this particular type of client, this particular type of thing, I'm going to sell that particular product or service, you are cutting off all the other possibilities. Maybe you could sell a smaller program. Maybe there's a bigger program. Maybe there's a collaboration opportunity over there. Maybe there's someone that you weren't thinking of so you've got to be open to the possibilities, because sometimes things come in ways that we weren't seeing. Sometimes when we start walking and open ourselves up to the possibilities, we start walking in one direction and then a door appears to the left. We've got to be ready to walk that way. If the door is open and a really good opportunity appears, we've got to be a bit flexible about that, not be rigid, because we don't know what's best. Like, that's God's job, isn't it? We just walk with knowing that this is the next best step that I can take. And then when you take those few steps and another possibility opens, we've got to have the flexibility to start walking towards that, if that's the most exciting thing, a possibility that's open to us in that moment. So I think that's so important. We got to be open to possibilities, because when we're shut down, when we're like, oh, it has to come like this, we don't even see the other possibilities that might be there.
I love this conversation. This is really juicy because it's bringing up some very serious life examples that I know people are actually experiencing right now. There are some things that you said earlier, Emma, that really caught me, which was, outside of the asking part, was validation actually comes from you. Like, no one can actually validate you. And this reminds me of that whole idea where, I've even done this, where I've asked someone, what do you think about my logo? What do you think about my business idea? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I started to look over time about who I was asking. Because a lot of the times the people I was asking, they were only giving me at the capacity that they were at. So if they didn't have a business, right, they would be like, oh, okay, that's nice. But they can only go off of what they know. So as I grew in my business, right, and this is for someone who's maybe starting out a business, maybe just don't know this, but ask people who are like above or right at where you're at, right? Like, network with people who've already done it and done it well, or are doing it and doing it well. Because if you network and you talk to people about what you're doing that are not actually doing it, especially for my overachievers, right? My go-to people, it will be very discouraging to hear what you're going to hear because there's a belief system there. People are not going to validate something they have not seen yet. You literally are actively working on your business and believing in what you're doing until it presents itself, so that those individuals that may not have been believers at first, now they see the validation. They're like, oh, okay, I see what they were talking about. This is why you have people go, oh, well, they overnight they just became millionaires. Like, no. You just weren't a believer until they became a millionaire. Okay. I will say this too, because I do want to comment this before Nisa comes in. Business is fun. I don't care what anyone says. If you start a business because it's just for the money, then you're not going to have fun. You're just going to be stressed by it. Stay at work. Stay working for someone else if that's the case, because money is not that important. It's a fulfillment that you're going to get from doing what you love and then getting paid for that, right? That's what keeps you going. Like even in this moment, guys, I can tell you the challenges that I'm experiencing in business. If you guys could see the back end, you'll be like, oh my God, how, right? But for me and for what I do, my clients need me every single day. I can't just be like, oh, I'm having, some days, right? I have to get through that as the owner and be able to produce. So that comes from validating myself every single day. If I waited for someone to validate me, we would not be here. Okay. So that's one thing that came up, Emma, is like, have fun with what you're doing and validate that every single day, because life is already hard. It's never going to look easy. I think everything is hard. I think it's hard to do it and it's hard not to do it, because if you do it, you're going to experience the challenge of growth. And if you don't do it, whatever it is, you're going to experience the regret of not doing it. So we have to kind of be realistic about that. So have fun with what you're doing, guys. And this is why I coach. I teach people. And, Emma, I know you work with people, not just with businesses. I know you work with people of all, in careers and business. So, guys, you don't have to wait to start the business. You can go to Emma right now and start working on that nervous system, that mindset, those challenges. But the last thing I'll say before I go to Nisa, y'all, is if you don't have the right energy when you're showing up for your business, then your money will reflect it, right? There's always going to be a waiting period between times. Just challenge your belief system where you may not have clients pay you for a while. You may have to get some systems in place. Maybe you don't have some things and you got to tweak those, learn that thing along the way. But while you're going through those challenges, keep your energy up, right? That means eat right, drink water, right? Be in the right places. I challenge my relationships all the time. Anytime I feel like someone is draining me, I check them. And I check me too. I go, wait a minute, something's not adding up. You're draining me. I need this for what I do, right? Energy equals money. Nisa, introduce yourself, Queen. You've been sitting on the blue comfy couch. Comfy blue couch.
Wow. How was that? We're launching with Us Through Productions. We're launching a whole book today. So I had an hour.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're doing the ebook today, and I had the hour of 2 to 3. So, I don't really talk that long sometimes. So I was like, eh.
Aww.
So, but I did not want to miss, the live today. And what you're talking about is really good. Oh, yeah. Let me introduce myself. Hold on. Backtrack. Okay. Hey y'all, I'm Nisa Shepherd, CEO and founder of Miracle Moments LLC. And Miracle Moments LLC is based off my life, where I experienced my first miracle at birth with my esophagus and my stomach not connected. That has inspired me to help other individuals discover their miracle moment as well, not only in their personal life, but also in their business, whether they need a notarization. I am a North Carolina notary, PowerPoint presentation, graphics, logos, social media content, flyers, business cards. There's so much things that I offer under Miracle Moments. So you guys can connect with me here on TikTok or also on Facebook at Miracle Moments LLC. That's MIRAKUL Moments LLC. So yes, so getting into this topic, girl, this is so good about, being the go-to person. And then what you were talking about just a second ago, where you may experience where clients don't pay you for a while. So y'all listen, just a whole transparent moment. So I'm learning different aspects of my business, because I'm very nice and, I like to help people. But being all real, like the people that you think that, like, okay, I'm gonna help you do this because I see that you have a goal, but you're also have like a financial situation right now. So I'm just gonna help you out. Well, let's just say that is not what I'm going to do anymore, because you live and you learn. So like this one lady, she's working on a book project. She wanted me to help her out. And I was like, I'll do a mock-up for you, and it'll cost a certain price. She was like, okay, I won't be able to pay it until the following week. So I was like, what I'll do for you, since I've had a little bit of interaction with you already before, like dealing with interviews, I'll do a mock-up for you out of good faith. So, in the process of doing the mock-up, long story short, she never ended up paying me, and she started talking about her own personal affairs, which ain't got nothing to do with me. I mean, if that was the case, like when you said you was gonna pay me previously, you should have mentioned that and not said something that you wasn't gonna be able to come through on. So I'm learning, and when Dr. Allegra had mentioned about the people paying, not being able to pay for a while, but you have to continue to encourage yourself through that process, because it is a process. And like, for example, this right here, I have a gentleman who's interested in event coordinating. So for lunch and learn. And I was like, okay, for you this time, I'll waive the consultation fee. So y'all listen, I really feel like even though I've given him the prices for everything, he's literally, I feel, is breadcrumbing me. So I'm like, at this point, I've already found a photographer for his event, and he was talking about decorating. So he has this budget, and I'm like, within your budget, the food is not covered, because that's not what I'm gonna do. And so I gave him all my prices to help him make a decision for what he wanted. And then he was like, well, can I see what your photographer's work is like? So y'all listen, this is how it's good to have support. So I contacted my two of my co-founders and let them know what he said. And then one of my co-founders was like, well, don't give them a name, don't give them any information of who your photographer is. Mind you, my photographer, he's amazing. He's like another father figure, like one of my other godfathers. Just saw him yesterday. He's ready, got the date locked in. But I'm not going to tell you who this person is until you lock in, because that's a finder's fee, and you're gonna have to pay something. And because I already waived the $15 for the consultation, I'm not about to give you no more information. I'm just going to tell you that his work is impeccable, and he's been in the game for over 20 years. He's done weddings, graduations, and so forth. That's all you need to know. Now, when you lock in, I will tell you more. But until you lock in, I'm not giving you no more information, because I've done, listen, y'all, this is a learning experience, and I want y'all to understand. In this season, I'm still learning, and also being an entrepreneur, right? So I've already called Publix about the lunch boxes and got him a price of how much it's going to cost. Okay, so I did that. I'm learning. Like I said, I'm learning. And now he wants to know about my photographer's business and his work. Like, no, you're going to have to pay for that, because I'm not giving you no more information, okay? And I told him that. Well, I didn't say I'm not giving you no more information. I really had it very tactful, very miracle moment-ish, but I'm just being real with y'all, okay? So this is really good. And he hasn't replied yet, and that's okay. Because at this point in the game, we done had, like Dr. Allegra says, it's 3 no's and a go. We already had one meeting. We had the initial, which I waived the fee. Then I had a follow-up with him. just to talk about getting a clear idea of what he wanted. And we've emailed, so he knows the prices for everything and he knows what's not included. So in saying all of that, just just be mindful of of having structures in place. I'm learning structures matter because it also helps you go from the interested client to the one that locks in and pays. Some people are not going to be for us, and that's okay. But we just have to continue to encourage ourselves, even in the midst of all the chaos that may want to happen in the midst of our entrepreneurship journey. So this is really good. I'm glad I came in when I did. And also about being the go-to person. It can be very draining. I'm not going to lie. So sometimes you have to disconnect and just take a breather to refresh your mind, reset your mind, and refocus. So thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm complete.
Absolutely. First of all, I feel like setting my back end up to be like High Achievers Academy. Because guys, like we really do so much for others. Nisa, when you said that you had already made these moves, and thank you for the likes for the live. Nisa's going in. You got the clicker? It's like,
What's your numbers? And then I tell you if I got it or not.
okay, no problem, no problem.
What's your
All right.
numbers?
As far as we had 11,000.
Okay, then it's working. Okay, continue.
Boo boo. Okay, we gonna get the tips from Coach Nisa later on her TikTok channel. All right. So listen, I love everything you said because the truth is, and when you say you think he was breadcrumbing you, I think that's the first time I heard that. And let me make sure I get that clear. Does that mean that he's trying to get in bite size from you?
I learned this from my co-founder. He was like, because I learned it with the other lady I had mentioned before about the book, and he was like, she's breadcrumbing you, and I'm like, breadcrumbing, and he was like, yeah, basically stringing you along. It's just another term for breadcrumbing. So she's trying to get more information and not have to pay for it because she's, So basically what he's trying to do is, I understand that, you have a budget, you're trying to stick to it, but just say that if you're not interested in any of, what I got. But yeah, so basically he's like, I feel like he's breadcrumbing because he hasn't even locked in yet.
Yeah, can I also say that a lot of high achievers, and I don't know if this is related to anything, but a lot of high achievers I work with are very gifted. Like they have high talents, high level of awareness in certain areas that just come natural for them. It's very weird, right? It's good weird though. So I tell my clients all the time, and I tell people around me, trust your gut. Like trust what you felt the first time. I promise you, it's most likely going to be true. And a lot of this in business too does come from trusting ourselves. I love how you said 3 no's and a go. And the reason why I say that, Nisa is in one of my coaching programs. She's one of the best students, y'all. So that's the only reason why she knows that.
Why, thank you, doctor.
Yes. Chef's kiss, okay? And when you talk about the 3 no's and a go especially for us high achievers, I am one too. Like, that's the thing. I know I can do a lot of things, y'all, but it's not for everyone, right? You can't just dispense yourself just because you have gifts and you can do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? So high achievers tend to do a lot more than what is even necessary, right? And that's just and it feels good to us to do it. That's part of the problem. And maybe Emma can talk towards that, because I think that kind of stems off of a little bit of a people pleasing and perfectionist type of energy. But the truth is that it feels really good, right, to be a high achiever, to be able to get things done. But it sometimes can be at a default. So the 3 no's and a go, it just puts yourself in a position where you do have structure for yourself. Like, you can chase someone forever, or you can say, hey, these are my limitations on how I police myself or police my business, right? Because if there's someone else working in that sales position, going after accounts for the clients that you have. If it's not you and someone replaces you in that position, what would that look like? Would you want them to keep calling them forever and trying to chase them down and figure out, if they're going to hire you and then keep doing the work? Or are you going to do this, which is what I highly recommend for my high achievers? Just make sure that they pay before they pay before you do any work, right? Like it could be a deposit. It could be a small amount. I've even had clients charge $1 for a 15-minute discovery call. They're just like, as long as you pay something, I know that you're serious. Because when people pay, they pay attention, even when they don't realize it. Sometimes people don't even know, right? They're just like, oh, I'm just going to try this. I have a feeling. But then when they get into that place of, okay, I made the payment, then they're like, okay, I feel different. Let's go. And so until you get that commitment from someone, right, where they have literally put some money where your energy is, then I really wouldn't worry about them too much, right? And the no can come from a simple, hey, let me think about it. Okay, that's your first no. I'll follow up with them in a week or so. I follow up in 24 hours. I'm following up in a day. And then you follow up and then they go, I still haven't been able to look at that email you sent me, but I really do want to work with you. Okay, no problem. That's the second no. Okay, got you. And then that third time that you reach out and they, don't respond, maybe they leave you dead air. That's fine. That's your final no, and keep it moving, because I promise you, this is what will happen. You will disappear and they will be like, where'd they go? Wait, they were just chasing me down. What happened? And then they'll start going to your social media. They'll start looking at that email they forgot to look at, right? Because you can't pressure someone to utilize you. You can encourage them to get the results that they are asking for. But you being present enough to say, hey, I'm the go-to person, but only for the people who are ready to do the work. That's a different type of energy in your business. And you can start in your 9-to-5, but in order to do that, guys, you have to have guidance, you have to have support, and you have to have someone. And this is what I did. And NISA actually took advantage of it. Earlier this year, I put out one of my programs and I heavily discounted it because there were so many people coming to me in my DMs saying, oh my God, I'm just ready to get rid of my job. Oh my God, I'm ready to start the business. Oh my God, I want this, I want that, I want this. I said, okay, no problem. Let's put a heavy discount on it. And I just redid it. I think nice that you laughed at it because I put the same offer on the Labor Day discount, which was the same offer. Wasn't any different, right? But I have less seats now. So the women who are like, okay, wait a minute. I don't want to carry this energy into my business. I want to actually learn how to create structure right now while I'm working my 9-to-5, how to have boundaries, how to say no, how to actually reduce the overwhelm by putting systems and software in place. All of these things that people complain about, especially with the, oh my God, I don't know how to market. You do. Oh my God, I don't know how to sell. You do. But it's how you're doing these. And this is why I have programs, so I can teach people how, right? And those are the people that get results. So like I'm saying, like NISA, like people who they paid attention, they got results. But the people who come to you that aren't paying, guys, do not let them in your doors. Do not let them have any access to your time, your resources, or anything. I don't even care if they are family, I'm sorry to say, but have boundaries, because if you don't, then your brand value will diminish as well. Emma, I think I've spoke long enough about that. I want to give you some time in here.
Which part would you like me to cover? You covered quite a lot there.
Yeah, we're just basically having a general conversation, and we're going to end it soon. NISA was just really expressing about, being breadcrumbed.
Oh, yeah.
Really talking about, and I was just emphasizing that being the go-to person, guys, let me tell you, they will breadcrumb you. They're going to continue to do it. Takers, they don't mind taking. And you're going to find that, because especially if you are a gifted business owner, and you are giving a lot in business, like, hey, I want the support, I want to help, I'm going to give, and you're going to attract takers. But go ahead, Emma, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I can relate to that as well. Because when you're, like you said, gifted, you want to help people, you want to share what it is that you've got to give. You attract people, and it's not just in business. You can attract relationships like that where they breadcrumb you, where, they give you a tiny bit of attention, they send you one message, and they expect that to be enough, to keep you on the hook. And that's what it is. It's about keeping you on the hook. It's like you're their backup plan. You're not the number one choice. They just want to see if they can keep you stringing along and how much they can keep extracting from you. And the cool thing is, and this isn't about accusing anyone, because I've been breadcrumb before, don't get me wrong too, but you train people how to treat you. And you can say no to that behavior. You can just say, no, I'm not having that. I'm not jumping when you tell me, say jump. I'm not going to ask how high. I'm busy. I have other things to do. I have stuff going on in my life. So you've got to put down those boundaries. And that means financial boundaries as well, and time boundaries. You can't be totally available for these people, and it goes for dating. The same goes for dating. If you're too available for people, people are going to think you've got nothing else going on in your life. So you've got to show them that you're busy, that you've got a routine, that you've got things going on, and they've got to work around you, not the other way around. You don't want to be working around your clients. They got to work around your busy schedule, because you're out there doing the work, helping loads of people, doing in your zone of genius, sharing your gifts. And yeah, it's called appreciation, this word appreciation. When people pay, they pay attention, yes, and when they pay, they also appreciate your work. When they get it for free, they don't appreciate it, and that's a human thing. How many free gifts have you downloaded that you've never looked at? I mean, I have quite a few on my computer that I've never ever opened, or gifts that have cost, or giveaway things that cost $1 or even $29. I mean, I think I have something on my computer that I've never opened. So when people aren't investing in you, when they're not invested, they're like, oh, whatever, I'll do that later. Oh, maybe never. And when they pay attention. They appreciate you because they give you that appreciation. That's what money is. Money is a symbol of their appreciation. And when you receive the money, you can receive that appreciation. You could feel that appreciation. You can reinvest that money into yourself and into your business. And that's important for you to grow. Otherwise, you're just going to be circling the drain with these breadcrumbers. And it's a recipe for disaster, because they do not want to invest in themselves. So they're never going to invest in you. They're too afraid. They're stuck in scarcity mode. That's the thing. And they're too scared to do something about it. So that's the thing with breadcrumbers. They're in scarcity. Don't be angry with them. You can even feel a bit sorry for them, because it's a pretty sad way of being. They don't think they have anything to give to anyone else. So they're just like trying to live on crumbs and see what crumbs they can get from other people, and who will come running for this crumb and that crumb that they throw out. It's pretty sad way to live, and you don't owe these people anything. You say no to those people if they're not aligned, and you stay focused on the vision of the kind of clients that you want to attract. And these people who don't want to pay, they're the ones are pay like the minimum. They want to pay. They complain about everything. They're the ones who complain about everything. They expect you to give them the world, to sort everything out for them, and they'll be the first ones to complain, trust me, when things don't work out. The people who pay more, they're more invested in it. They know that it's not like a quick fix, one and done. These people that breadcrumb, they think that you're going to be the answer in 5 minutes. They think it's quick and easy, and that's just not realistic. So those people are not your tribe. If you have a quality good or service that you're offering, let them go and take the freebies and see how they get on with that.
See, this is so good, because when I worked in corporate and in 9 to 5 spaces, I did not see the filtering process. Guys, I did not see the filtering process that was happening, where my employer was qualifying the right candidate to work with that company. And here's what I want to separate: product based versus service based, or there's some of us that do both. And I think that for us who are service based providers, right, we are actually getting paid for our time directly, right? Like we may have 1 hour coaching services or consultation services. And that's a choice, because for some of my clients, and I'm realizing this as you're talking, Emma, for some of my clients, we created barriers, right, called paywalls. And we also created templates called forms that turn into questionnaires that qualify people to work with us, right? And I highly suggest this for anyone who is especially going into, a business from a 9 to 5 in that shift, is start looking at where your barriers are, because everyone does not deserve access to you just because you have a business. And I think that that's something I've actually heard people say a lot. Like I don't know how to really separate. Like they didn't know how to really separate themselves. And so I always look at paywalls for product-based businesses. Like if you sell, like for example, NYSA, you have like NYSA does business cards. She does graphic designs and printing, guys. So if I were to give an example, for some of us who want to have that barrier so that people don't just get to come into our business and take advantage of our time as overachievers and the go-to people, we can easily fall victim to that. So you have to kind of create that barrier. And for me, having a discovery call or somewhere where they can actually put in a questionnaire, hey friend, hey, okay, to overcoming, a questionnaire that they can fill out and say, yes, I have a budget for this. Yes, this is what I'm looking for, right? Because listen, this is what happens. Because when we say when they pay attention, we're not just talking about money. Because some people pay with time. Time is the most valuable asset, guys. Like let's not remove that fact. Like you can never get time back. So for someone to actually induce their time into saying, okay, I'm going to fill this out, I'm going to answer these questions because I really, really want to get these results, that matters too. So being able to qualify people to work with you, setting up your systems right so that when they get into your call, you already know they're ready to go. That's going to save you so much stress. Product based. If you're selling products, one of the biggest mistakes, and I'm telling you guys the what and what's going on so that you can figure out how to get the results when you work with us, okay? Because the truth is that some of these areas maybe you don't realize you can even do. Having a paywall means that...
Is that a site?
No, it's not a specific site. A paywall is basically, like you can do it on a funnel, like you know how ClickFunnels have it, where you go in there, information, it goes boom. If you want that, you have to pay this, and then you get access to this.
Oh, that was a crazy question, Nysa. Okay.
It's not. No, it's not crazy. That's a good.
I said, is that a site?
It's a good question. You know why?
Yeah.
A lot of people will just never ask the question.
Yeah, you're right.
They will literally leave this.
Okay, hold up. What is that?
Listen, the overcome. Okay, listen, sis. I just learned something by you asking that question.
Oh, thanks. Because, girl, I was over here about to Google, like, paywall.
Well, I mean, when you look at these areas of your business, like if you're not understanding what things are, like the fact that someone before they can even get your time maybe need to buy the product first. I go to Vistaprint and I gotta buy my business cards before they ship it out. I promise you that.
Facts. You right.
Go to move.com and they asking for money.
Mm-hmm.
They let me upload the design. Yeah, they do. But they don't create it. But if I'm creating it and you, baby, you gonna pay me first. Nice.
Yep. Yeah, you right. Paywall. I'm gonna use that paywall.
Because why not?
That is true.
Because why would you go and pay Vistaprint and Move, but you won't pay me? And I do more than Vistaprint and Move.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this is not to this. Like, I'm talking to NYSA because I know what NYSA does, y'all. I don't know what you guys do, but I promise you, it's probably the same thing. Is
Yeah, this is true though.
first.
Hmm.
And I want to do and here, listen, y'all. Listen, I'm not even supposed to be on this long, but David came in here, and I just want to highlight this. I know Nisa goes on her lives at 4 o'clock usually. It's a holiday for most people, so I know that a lot of people are just
Okay,
thank
let's
you.
go,
Okay,
sis.
sis. Okay, newfound love here. Bring it, and feel free to
But
come.
change your oh, sorry.
Which
Change
one?
your goal once it's, or if you want to get your gift gallery filled.
Okay, um, girl,
That's cool. I like them glasses.
I'm gonna do it. Well,
Hey, the
it says I
overcomer.
still have two more.
Hi.
So for
Hi.
this, I'm good. So this right here, the glasses, that's just an extra. But to get to the help you get to the next level, everything in your gift gallery needs to be filled.
Girl. Okay, I'm looking at it. I want to.
No worries.
I want to welcome Sister to stage, the overcoming. Is that what you want us to call you?
My real name is Tamara.
Hey, Tamara.
Yes, thank you so much for always loving on my content, girl.
Miracle will keep you busy. She will keep you busy. Well, now that you're in the room, tell us how you feel. Feel free to introduce yourself. We want to get to know you a little bit.
Okay, good. So my name is Tamara. I live in Florida. I have 3 boys. My eldest is 22 years old. My youngest is 5 years old. I own a medical billing company. But prior to owning a medical billing company, I worked in healthcare for about 20 years as a registered nurse. And I feel you what you're saying, because there's a content that I post, I think it was Friday, and I post the content on this page. I also I have 2 other TikTok page, but basically there was a client, and the client, so first of all, let's back up. I work with a lot of doctors, nurse practitioners, social workers, and things like that. And sometimes they could be a pain in the, yeah. And so, to be honest with you, I had one client that I signed him on about, I want to say maybe like 3 months ago. But then the first month he was supposed to pay, he paid good, because the first payment was not a lot, right? Because we built out the claim for maybe 2 weeks. So it was maybe like $500. So it was no problem. But then when it was time to pay $2,000 for the full month, he was like, I think I paid you twice. I paid you twice. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, why don't you go into your account and send me the screenshot of you paying me twice? Because I know my bookkeeping. So I'm like, first of all, I'm not that person. I would never let it go. So then he goes into his bookkeeping and he was like, yeah, I think I paid another Tamara. I think I need to reach out to her. I said, okay. So then the second month came and he paid late, and I didn't have a problem with it. And then the third month came and he locked us out of his account. So he locked us and didn't pay us. Now, what I would have done more likely is get upset, but I've done so well in my business that it wasn't even necessary for me to get upset. I sent him a notice and I was like, listen, this will be the last time we're doing business together. It's been weeks now and he's been sending me texts. So I put it on my chat because I wanted people to see how, basically I sent him the note and I was like, listen, unfortunately, I email and I was like, listen, you're supposed to pay the last invoice, but I can't check your invoice because you closed us out of the account. So we basically don't know like how much to charge you. So now he's calling me back to back constantly all the time now. And I know he needs my service. So he sent me an email, and let me tell you, people can be so, I don't even understand it. And sometimes it's our kind, dear Lord, it's our kind. And he said to me,
You're gonna say that again?
yes, I don't even like, some people get upset, so I try not to say it too loud. But let me tell you, he sent me a letter and he was like, an email, and he was like, listen, I want to use your service because billing sucks. But basically, I need you to drop your price from 7% to 4%. Can you imagine the audacity that this guy had? The audacity. So I
No way.
basically,
Oh my
yes.
God.
And then he's telling me all these things. So I basically, because I didn't sleep that night, so I woke up that morning at 4 o'clock that morning. I wasn't even going to respond to that email, but I was like, you know what? It's time for me to respond to that email. So I woke up that morning and I basically write him a FUCK email, but in the most business way. And I sent it to him. So I thought he was going to just walk away, and he didn't respond. And then Friday he was like, Tamara, please call me. Billing sucks. I didn't even respond to him because, first of all, I am going to charge you a fee and a deposit that you're not going to be able to pay. So I'm not even going to bother with you because the deposit that I'm going to charge you, you're going to run. So let's just not even have a conversation. And that's it. That's my life. That's my story.
Girl, where is the applause on here? Nice to help me. Oh, that was such a good
You see the effects? You see the effects at the bottom?
Okay, hold on, wait, before we get there, because I'm just like, my heart is pumping. I want Emma to comment while I look for that.
Oh my God. That is such classic breadcrumbing behavior. That is like, this guy is stuck in scarcity. He's textbook what I was just talking about. These people who expect you to deliver the world to them, they expect you to answer everything that they want, that you to be at their beck and call, and they don't want to give you a penny. They expect to get it all for free. Or if they give you a penny, they expect the world to be delivered to them immediately. That's absolutely classic. These are the customers you definitely want to repel in your messaging, and that you do with the paywall. You have your price up. This is how much you charge. You don't do the freebie seekers. You don't. I'm interested how he found you over.
That's a great question, how he found me, right? So that right there. So I'm on Google, and on Google I have 5-star. So basically all my business that I work, all the clients that I work with, I give them top-notch service. If I cannot do it, I'm not taking the job. Period. Because for me, I feel like what I do is such craft. I have 22 staff, and I'm going to be honest with you. I am the best in marketing. That is where I lies. That I can talk. That's just what I do. So I don't do the work that I'm not good at. And I don't hire people to the work. I hire people that are the best at what I'm hiring them for. And that's it. So that's how he found me.
Okay, well, apparently he picked quality, but he was trying to get quantity.
But see, I mean, here's the thing, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I know I'm just gonna say this. My husband is white, so I'm not, racist. So I want to make sure that's clear. But I think in the community and the Black world, sometimes when they see a Black business owner, they underestimate that Black business owner, and they don't realize that there's so much to us. It's so sad. Like, it's just really sad. And I had to let him know, like, I'm like, listen, you might see me, and I always show up professional, but I run a very lucrative, I started my company from scratch, from literally scratch. So I know everything about it. And I don't mind you having a conversation with me, but how dare you tell me you're walking in my business and you're telling me, by the way, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And this is what you do. How about I come in your businesses and say, by the way, this client that you're seeing today, don't even see him. Don't even charge him. Just let him go for free. Like, are you kidding me right now?
Oh my God, this is so good. I'm so glad you came in. This is really good.
Yes. So that's kind of just, I mean, and that is, and you don't get that from I get that from the smaller company. The bigger company, I don't have those issues. Those bigger companies are, they're like, okay, Tamara, let's have a once a month meetings. We have our meetings and they tell me what's not working right. We work on it and we move it. The little company, it could be quarter. They're like, oh, you charge us quarter extra. Are you kidding me? Well, here's $1. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. But also, Tamara, you make a good point because I tell people to do business where they are.
yes,
And sometimes there are a lot of companies, especially with startups, and they're already spending money before they even make it.
yes, true.
It's like I don't know if it's a personal thing creeping up in the business. Emma could talk to that, but to already want to spend money you don't even make in your business yet is a little weird.
Right.
And then on top of that, like you said earlier, like it doesn't matter your profession; it's how you manage your finances.
It is really how you manage your fund. Because not to cut you off, but if now take a look and now you observe. So this is what I've also noticed. You see those clients that are the smaller clients. Let's say, for instance, a nurse practitioner. Maybe she's making $20,000 for the month. That's what she's bringing in. But maybe she has to pay all these bills. But then you go on her Instagram and she's flossing. You know what I'm saying? Well, where's my money? You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing right there.
Wait, that's why we
if
said
you
be
do
careful the
that.
clients you attract. That's what we
Yes.
say. Listen, dude, you because that is wholeheartedly exactly what we're talking about, right? I started to attract behavior over time, right?
Yes,
Because you can't change a person's character.
definitely.
And working with someone that has good character or matches the vibe of how you support people, that feels better, right?
Yes,
Than working with someone who's like, you owe me money and I see you out on Friday night on your stories.
yes, yes, yes.
Or you're complaining about, or I remember I let a client go because she told me she couldn't hire me, but then again, she turned around and bought an entire system for the whole year, a software for the whole year.
Yeah, they're
Now,
like,
not to say that I didn't want her to be successful, but I
right.
was like, but I see where your head is at in how you move. So you're not going to invest in real results. You're going to invest in the busy work.
You know what I say about that though? So when I started my company with being pregnant. I had my baby maybe like 2 months before I had my baby 2 months, but I knew I was gonna start this business, right? So I knew this. Now money was an issue. So I was very tight with money. One thing for sure, I think that when it comes to business and when it comes to priority, it's a big deal. And all of this can happen because I had to take away from myself and my family. So we couldn't go to things because guess what? Tamara was billing that company for the family. So I had to compromise. And if it was Labor Day or Thanksgiving, or we didn't do those things because guess what? I was trying to bill for the family. But what I don't think, like, when I see smaller company, they don't want to let go of something, and you have to give up something to get what you really want.
Yeah. It's a sacrifice. Business is sacrifice. But I admire your journey because I want to say this because everybody has a reason why why things are happening. And but when you talked about the story, and then this is just like the whole process. It doesn't matter if they're a long time client. Like I told my clients this past year, I switched a couple of my programs and I started removing, clients that were kind of like dead in the water. Like, okay, we worked long enough, hard enough, and now it's just a comfort zone. So sometimes it's necessary for that because I feel like it makes your business dusty.
Yeah.
But when you said that your client, and this is what I want to highlight, because money is energy. Um, if a client can't afford to work with you, then there needs to be a level of separation, right? Some level of exit strategy, so that there can be ease there, because no client should struggle paying you, right? But if you have someone who's trying to, like we said, breadcrumb you, this is exactly what you're talking about, Tamira. 7%. He came back from trying to nickel and dime you, or breadcrumb you because he wanted to, pay late and all that stuff. To now coming back and saying who he selected and paid who was less than you were. So,
Exactly.
so he paid someone because he wanted to, save some money. Let's put it
Yeah.
like that.
Basically.
He wanted to save some money. Okay.
4%, right? That's what the other
He went from
person.
that's a big lead, guys. 4% to 7. That's a huge lead.
It's like half and half, you know?
So for a client, and this is why I want to emphasize this story because you coming up, girl, you don't even know how important it is to hear stories about what is happening in real life with business owners who are actually out here winning. Because I love the fact that you have your staff, you have your business in place. You worked hard to get where you worked well to get where you are. And in order to honor that for yourself, you do have to have the right clients to support that growth in that journey. If you have someone like a stickler, like the example you're given, that actually decides, okay, because you give your clients power to decide to go somewhere else
Yeah.
and just this what they're doing with you, but I'm gonna just go somewhere else
Mm-hmm.
and then come back afterwards and ask you to lower your prices. I want that to be a clear example. Just like you said, I'm not even going to entertain it. If anyone has ever experienced someone trying to lowball their prices, trying to get them for a cheaper value, trying to manipulate them and say that they're too high for what they're offering, I want you to be their example to say, you don't have to worry about taking that client on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, I want you to give them some encouragement in that. Why shouldn't they have to worry about that?
Well, so number one, so if I want to go back a little bit because I don't want it to seem like that. So when I first started my business, I took those clients, right? And I took those clients because I needed those clients because my business was growing. And at the time, you just do what you can because you're like, okay, let me take those clients because that's what I'm getting. But then I sat my bit. So again, the money that I earned from the business, I then invested back into the business. And I invested back into the business. I don't know if you ever heard about government contracts like RFPs and things like that. So we win big RFPs, $1 million RFPs contracts. So basically, like I said, I give up 2 years of me, what I would normally do, what I would normally enjoy, traveling, all of this, just to invest so I can get my certifications and all these things. So I would say, to me personal, to anyone who are in business, it's always, you have a place, there's a place and a time for your business. And I do get it that if you have to take some clients that you're not happy with, but then at some point in your life, when your business gets to where it needs to be, you have to figure out what clients work for you. As far as for me, if the client is not paying more than $3,000 a month, I'm not taking that client.
I love it. I just want to hear what my guests have to say about that because I think it's powerful to make a statement like that and to stick to it. That is a definite mind shift. So thank you, Tamara. I appreciate you for bringing me to the stage. And please come back.
Oh, sure. I love
Yeah.
talking about this because I love talking about it because this is just a piece of this, but in my business, I've been through a lot of clients not paying me. When I tell you a lot, to the point now where I have them sign a contract. Well, they've always signed a contract, but they have to leave a deposit. And I didn't used to do that again because when you're starting the business and they don't want to, and you're a small company and they don't want to give you that client, you basically try to come up with solutions how to get the client. So now I just put out something on my Instagram and I'm like, listen, I don't take any client these days. So if you're not coming and you're not writing your business, if you're not going to be answering emails, if you just think that we're just going to be a one-stop shop and do it all and you're just supposed to get the wins, it just doesn't work that way.
Now that is a good avatar. Did y'all hear her? She said, if you're not checking your emails, if you're not like,
Yes.
some people know what their ideal clients eat for lunch.
Yeah.
that's how well they know the people that they serve. So I love that you mentioned that, guys. We talked about that on another live stream. We have to get out of here. Thank you so much, the Overcoming, Tamara. We're going to have you back hopefully on another Monday stream. I do want to hear from our guests on stage to finalize this. This was basically about, the concept of this live was being the go-to person, the overachiever, and then starting the business. It is not easy transitioning from 9 to 5 and then making that mindset shift over time, being the overachiever, being the go-to person. And so we talk about, what that looks like. You know, we talk about why it's important to, just really dig into it. Like maybe you're not realizing you are the overachiever. Maybe you're not realizing how it's affecting you. But then we also want to give you solutions as to how you can get support. So I got some people up on stage, and you can see we have successful business owners like Tamara, we have Nisa, we have Emma, and of course we have support in all areas of business. If you want to get that, you can DM me. If you need some therapy in your trauma responses, you don't want to knock nobody out today, okay, go see Emma. And of course, if you need your business and your marketing support, see Nisa. Nisa, I'm going to go ahead and go to you next. Any final words or anything that comes up for you before we end live?
This was really amazing. Like the overcomer came in and just tore the house down. It was really good. From the beginning I stepped foot back in here, it was so good. Like this is a topic that some people may not really talk about or don't feel comfortable talking about like within their business, but it also helps somebody else out. So if I have to be transparent about where I'm at in my business, that's what I'm gonna do. So this was good. So congratulations everybody for keep pushing forward. And we about to get 25K. Hold on.
Nisa is the numbers girl. I love data too.
Let me help here.
What'd you say, Tamara?
I'm gonna be getting you to 25 too. Let's get this going.
Oh, thank you, sis. I appreciate it. And we'll get your call to actions too before we get off. Emma, any final words? Anything come up for you?
This has been such a great call. I've loved listening to the stories, like the real life stories about this guy particularly, because he's such a great example. But the gift out of this for you is that he's inspired you to raise your standard now. So you're not going to attract any more pains in the asses like him. You're gonna spot them a mile off. So it was kind of, and I know these things are real pain in the ass when they happen, but we could change it so it becomes a blessing. And it seems like that's what you've done now, because you're absolutely not going to accept that kind of behavior from anyone else, and it's never going to even come into your world now. You've drawn a line in the sand, and that's really powerful. So this has actually been really empowering for you, and for all of us listening, it's been a great lesson. So thanks so much for sharing that. It's important to value yourself first, because we're as children, so many of us, we're looking for that validation from outside. We're trained to look for that validation, especially women. Women, unfortunately, even more than men. We're kind of looking for that validation, someone to tell us that we're okay, or to tell us that everything's okay, or that we deserve. But we've got to bring that from within. And these people that come along and test it, they help us raise our standards so we never get breadcrumbed again, and we smell that energy a mile off before they even get anywhere near us. So this is the powerful thing about what you've shared. And like I said, this same dynamic happens in relationships and dating as well. People coming in with the breadcrumbs, trying to get you interested, see how much they can get you to do for nothing. So this is a lesson for all areas of life.
True. I agree with you, Emma.
Our people pleasers, which are also our overachievers. That's weird though. Thank you guys.
25K?
Yeah, thank you guys for the 25K. I was just about to say thank y'all. Y'all are amazing. And this is just to prove to you guys that nothing is done alone. Like when I'm on my live streams or when I'm in my spaces or doing business, guys, when I'm by myself doing it, the impact is not as powerful as when I have my team and supporters around me. So thank you guys for supporting me today. I will be posting some of this on replay later on, not just in my community, but also around the social media globe. So just follow me on all social media accounts, Allegra Jackson CEO. And also, guys, because this is like, I guess, a Labor Day, I don't celebrate these holidays anymore. I really just focus on, where people are and where they need me. And because it was Labor Day, what I said, and nice, I saw you laugh, and I'm going to drop you guys in a second.
Oh,
But
oh,
what'd you say?
oh, I was gonna ask Overcomer where she is she like located at, and to see if she
Florida.
was on Facebook. Oh, okay. So we have a win community on Facebook. If you want to join us, we're over there on Facebook. I can give you the information.
Oh, that would be nice. Yes, I am on
And we have
Facebook
a
actually.
okay, and we have a Florida chapter in oh shoot, I said it wrong. We have a win chapter in Florida, so we can connect you with them as well.
All right, sounds good. I love it.
See,
Okay,
Nice
you're
is
welcome.
one of our leaders and don't even know she a leader. Never applied, never did the deed, but still been a leader. So thank you for that plug. Yes, we do have safe spaces. So Tamara, just FYI, I was a woman empowered that needed a safe space so that I could be able to grow my business and do it in community. Now I have women all over the globe that join me in this.
Nice. This
So
was necessary for me to be here. I like it.
it feels so good. It's a good space. It's a safe space. And one of the things that I've noticed is that, guys, and I want you guys to follow people that come into these spaces. I noticed that we attract that same energy. People that come into our spaces, come into our lives, you are aligned with that already. So yeah, so if you feel like this is a good space, come back, keep coming, and then share your stories too, because we find that people also grow in our communities. But yeah, to that part, Tamara, where can they find you? What's your social media channels?
So, the name of my company is called AGT Medical Billing Solutions. So I am on Facebook, I am on TikTok, and I'm also on Instagram. I'm mainly active on Instagram though.
Nice. Why? Why? Wait, I want to know why. Now I have to
I
know.
know, right? I also have LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is more on the professional side. But I get a lot more clients on Instagram. For instance, I post the message that the gentleman sent me. I cropped it. I posted on Friday, and on Friday midnight, not Friday morning, but the person sent the message at midnight. I got a call. I mean, I got a calendar invite for a meeting to start for a new client. So you see, like, that message that he sent me got me a new client for September 5th. So I'm supposed to have a meeting with her on September 5th.
Okay, now turn that negative to a positive.
I know,
Very
right?
good.
Look at that. I'm just saying.
Listen, you know what? This reminds me of someone said it one day, and I was like, I don't think I'm that good. But they were like, I think you're like the Kim Kardashian of marketing. No, I'm gonna put that label on you.
Yeah.
That's you, girl, because there ain't no way I'd have been able to do that. That's good to turn, and that's I think a part of really being good in business too, guys, is to take something that may have almost took you out into an actual sale. That's powerful.
I didn't even know it was gonna happen. I was pissed. So I did it, and everybody. I mean, I know a lot more people on Instagram. This is a new space for me, like because my son is on the spectrum, so it's a new space for me. This world here, but I always see the best in everything, and I think maybe that's what makes me a lot different. I try not to dwell in the bad sauce, because then you sit there for too long, and it does something to your mental.
Oh my God. So you're telling me so much in context. I'm just like, I'm nice that the thing in the back of my neck is happening again. Um,
I'm like, do we have to go?
I'm like, so let me ask you one more question.
No,
You can tell in your eyes when you have another question. You're like, hold on,
You
I'm
did, you
very
can?
intrigued.
No, ask.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. No, y'all tell me now, because every time my face give it away, I can't tell.
that's okay.
You know what came up for me because I test a lot of platforms, guys. Like I'm big on technology, social media being a vessel, a tool, asset to your business. And I was looking at, we're actually promoting ourselves. A lot of times we are really where we're most comfortable. Like if we use Facebook a lot, we use that to promote our businesses too. And that's just kind of where we start. But what came up for me was, well, when I asked you why Instagram, and you kind of say you got some results there. So now my next question is, have you used YouTube and TikTok as well, the same way you've used Instagram?
So I tried YouTube. It didn't work for me. Um, I did get client. I have gotten client from TikTok, but it's not this TikTok. I have another. It's everything that I have is AGT. So I do face somehow. So my AGT company created me a mentorship company. So I wrote a book because I think so. My first year, yes. So my first year in business, I did about $1 million, less than a year. I told you my son was born in April, and then from April on, by the ending of 2020, I did $1 million in business. That quick, that fast. Now it dropped because COVID and all that was happening, at that time. So I don't make that much money now, but I make good enough. You know what I mean? But at that time, my first year, that was my first time in life ever make that type of money. I couldn't even believe it. And then I master my craft, and and become very selective.
Yeah. That's interesting that you shared that. I'm learning so much about you, Tamara. I got to get off because I don't want to we'll be here all day. I love learning about, the behind the scenes in the business, but you said some pivotal things. First of all, your son has autism, which means that you specialize in an area that most people won't even have any knowledge about, but want to learn. Outside of that, you also are able to do your business with those challenges as well, right?
Yeah.
Because as a woman and as a mother and as a Black woman, right? And as a high achiever, like all these things matter,
Right.
and the scope of it all because they present new challenges. I think that's very interesting. So what I'll do is in this week, I'll be checking out your social media and looking at your book too. So what's the name of your book so people know?
How to market your medical billing company.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's the name. It's on Amazon, so I'll just send you the link.
Okay. So guys, and this is why I feel like we had a huge wave in the pandemic. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but everybody was online.
Yes. Yes.
We didn't have any other go-to, but now that everyone is kind of spaced out again, we have to kind of learn how to market differently. And I believe that's part of that pivoting, repositioning, right? Like, so I love this. So let's just kind of support each other, guys. We connected with Tamara, Miracle Moments, NISA. How can they connect with you this week?
Oh, yes. You can, geez, I lost my train of thought. You can connect with me here on TikTok because I do go live a lot here on TikTok. But I am working on that. I will be going live on my business page, Miracle Moments. That's MIRAKUL. And then also I will be spotlighting my mentee this week, hopefully, if not this week, next week. But we do have a live together on Sunday at 6 p.m. So connect with us and just learn more about Miracle Moments and the great things that we have coming up. And I'm also on Instagram, but yeah, that's a whole nother story. But anyways, okay, but yeah, thank y'all for being here. Thank you, Overcomer, for coming in. I appreciate
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes, the power of the network. Thank you. Okay, so before I drop you guys down, I'm going to let Emma do her call to action, and then I'm going to start dropping you guys down now. Thank you so much, Tamara. I will see you next week.
Thank you.
Y'all listen, and NISA, she teaches me a lot of things. So I got to I got to figure out how to do this again. How do I do
Doing
this?
good.
Doggone it. Hold on. How do I drop her again?
So click her face or her box.
I click.
You see the X at the top?
No, it says send to.
No, okay, so click her box. There should be an X at the top where it says disconnect.
Can I just get out? Is it not?
No, don't get out yet. Hold on. I think
We
it's
don't
because
want
I'm
you to
wasn't-
lose your points.
Oh,
Got
hold
it.
on. I think it's because I wasn't following her yet. Maybe.
Okay.
Hold on. I just followed.
Hey, Commando. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, wow. I can move these things. Okay, that's weird. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay. All right. I think. Wait. I think I got it. Okay, I
Woohoo!
got it. Okay. Boom. Okay, and then so
Good
Emma,
job.
you coach. Listen,
Good
the best teacher
job.
is a good, really good student. I stay a student, y'all. Okay.
Good job. You're doing good.
Thank you,
You
Nisa.
and you reached 30K.
We reached
30.6K.
30K. Y'all listen, with the support of the team, thank you guys. And also, Nisa, congratulations, because I know that our internship program and our mentorship program is amazing because of people like you. So I will be definitely watching your live stream with your interns so I can see what you guys have come up with and all the amazing things you've done. So y'all make sure y'all
Oh,
tune
thank
into that.
you.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to drop you. Bye-bye, girl.
Okay.
Emma, I would love to hear your call to actions. How can they, follow you, reach you? What do you have for us?
Well, yeah, it's such a great conversation. I've really got a lot out of listening to you, and it's always so uplifting. Like just to feel like the community vibe. So thanks so much for that. Yeah, you follow me. I'm trauma.matrix over here, over on Instagram and Facebook as well. Send me a DM if you're feeling stuck with your mindset. And I am running a free workshop on Thursday. So this is all about disconnecting from trauma that keeps us stuck in overwhelm and shrinking. It's totally free, and you'll experience what the work that I do for yourself. So definitely worth registering. Send me a DM if you're interested, and I'll get you hooked up. Very excited to see you there. And thanks so much for having me, Allegra.
Absolutely. Thank you, Emma, for always coming through. I really appreciate your words and your call to actions, because there are so many people, guys, that need support. But if we never show up and talk about what we do and how we support people, then they would never have option to access us. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to give them full access just because they reached out, right? And we've learned that in this live today. I also want to make sure that you guys have learned so much with the guests, so go ahead and go to their lives as well. I think Nisa does lives all the time on these channels. And another thing that I'm doing too, because ladies, we are at the forefront of business. If you are a woman and you have a business right now, I'm bringing women of all generations to come into one room together. Now, I didn't even say this earlier, Nisa, because I want to make sure I get the right form out for you guys. The last form had technical issues, of course. But we've already had like 7 people say yes to the opportunity. We've had a speaker's invitation call. And the reason why I'm getting women into the room together next year the way that we need to be is because there's just so many gaps in our generation. I've actually spoken to my own mother, and then I still have my 91-year-old grandmother, and conversations I have with them are very interesting. Like, oh my God, my great grandmother had a business? What? Like, we had land, huh? And to see the generations, how we, just didn't pass down information, didn't communicate well. So having all the generations in one room for our next year's conference is going to be a powerful measure, guys. So if you're looking to speak on a stage, if you're just like, I'm a woman who, and we have all different age ranges. Even my 15-year-old niece I want to ask to speak on a panel, okay? And this is where we get to come and talk about things that, maybe make us understand more about our individual struggles as women where we are, because business is what creates generational wealth. That's how we thrive and we live our lives. And if we are not supported in that manner, whether it's for each other or from the men who support us, like our husbands, our boyfriends, our fathers, like whoever that is, if we don't see that happening in real life, then we can kind of miss the mark, right? And so I want us to build a force together. So make sure you DM me. I'm looking for speakers. Nisa, I believe, is one of the speakers. Emma, I think I sent one out to you. So make sure you let me know if you're still interested in that. And then also Tamara, if I think you're in Florida, right? So we have Clivia out there in Florida, our leader. I'll connect you with her. That's a real life person in our community that you can start, networking with, talking to about business. And she's also hopefully going to be a speaker next year. But I'm looking for people who are ready for that. Also, if you are, and this is when we say go high or don't go at all, okay? So right now I'm talking with several banks, large organizations. Capital One is one of the companies that most likely will be working with for the conference. So I don't know if they'll be our main sponsor, but this is what I will say. If you're working and looking for sponsorships and support, know that it takes time to build those relationships. It took us a whole year since our last conference to even have Capital One consider being a sponsor for us this year. Think about that. We went to them last year for the conference and said, would you sponsor us? We're women, it's networking. You know, women need to be fiscally responsible. We're at the head of our households anyway, head of our business, support us. And they said no. They said, we want you to show us that you can build a relationship with us first. Then maybe we'll give you some money. So guess what? This year we went back and we said, give us some money. So the power of building relationships, guys, sometimes it takes time. But this year, make sure you don't miss out on the conference, because we are women empowering generations. All right, guys, I've talked enough. I will see you guys next week. Peace out and love. And make sure you don't miss out on a discount. Stay tuned on my social media channels because it expires today.